All right, everybody, welcome to The Stretch. Today, our episode, we are joined by Barry Rozner. He's a longtime sports columnist, and he was one of Ryne Sandberg's good friends. He wrote his Hall of Fame speech, so we bring him on. We talk about, the life of Ryno, and we also are joined by his former teammate, Larry Bowa. Larry's got some great stories as well. Honestly, Dave, even as a White Sox fan, you got to say you thoroughly enjoyed that.
I did. Obviously, this is baseball. At its core, we're talking Ryne Sandberg. He, in spite of being a Cub, was bigger than the White Sox-Cubs rivalry. He was just a baseball guy through and through, so we're going to tip a couple back for him today.
Exactly. We are going to do that, Dave. And then also at the end of Larry Bowa, we get into some current baseball too, which was great as well. We're about 3 hours until the trade deadline. As of right now, it's been pretty quiet. So yeah, we will get into those interviews here. But before we do, Dave, I got to tell you, Saturday, obviously having some people over, and I have 10 cases of Miller Lite just sitting there, and they look beautiful.
How long do you think those 10 cases will last? It's 240 beers.
I'm curious. I mean, you were there last year, and it was cycling through like crazy.
We might have to, fire up MillerLite.com/stretch.
We might have to, Dave.
Order us up a few more cases. I have a feeling we're going to.
I think we might have to, too. It sounds like more people from the office are coming this year. Because, listen, whether it's a long weekend or a full-on vacation, it's prime time to get some buddies together, and I can't wait to have some Miller Lite on Saturday, tomorrow. And, just enjoy it. Show people what Chicago's about. Over
August now, Ed. We're getting down to the, dog days of summer.
Yeah, just share some Miller Lites with everyone. So, like Dave said, Miller Lite, the official beer of the Chicago Bears. Go to MillerLite.com/stretch to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere that they sell beer. Cheers to 50 years of Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Go do it. Go get your Miller Lite, folks. Also want to talk about Reef, Dave. Introducing the Del Mar shoe from Reef. The Del Mar was born from the beach, but it's not just kicking back in the sand. This is Reef's most versatile shoe yet. It's engineered for comfort, styled for anywhere you want to go. Sidewalks, boardrooms, dinner dates, you name it. Lightweight, breathable, plus their new expanded TPU insole for a cushy, responsive feel. Anywhere goes with the all-new Del Mar shoe. I expect to see you have the Reef shoes on Saturday.
Yeah, I'll have them on. I don't know which style I'll have that day. I'll have to take a look at the forecast, but chances are I'll just go with the standard sandal. It's going to probably be a hot one, right?
Yeah, it's going to be hot, so you can have those sandals. The sandals are obviously great.
Are you
Got
getting
the
any
bottle up
bottles
on the bottom
this weekend, or is it just straight cans?
There will be some bottles there, I'm sure.
Well,
yeah.
That's good because guess what Reef shoes have?
They have that bottle opener on the bottom. You're very right. So go take a look at reef.com/stretch and use promo code STRETCH15 to get 15% off your first order over $49 or get free shipping on any order over $65. That's reef.com/stretch and use promo code STRETCH15 for 15% off your first order over $49. Go check them out. And Dave, please whoosh us in to Barry Rozner.
Whoosh.
Okay, now we are joined by a longtime Chicago sports columnist, Barry Rozner. We're going to talk some Ryne Sandberg here. Barry, I know you wrote his Hall of Fame speech. You had a great relationship with him. And honestly, we're trying to kind of dig into Ryno and, hear who he was as a guy, as a player, everything like that. So thanks for joining us, and we're excited to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, fellas. I know you guys you look like you're too young to have even probably seen him play, right?
I remember the tail end of his career.
Yeah, he was one of those guys where my dad would be like, this is the guy.
My dad, diehard Sox fan, he was one of the Cubs players that was like, you respect Ryne Sandberg. He plays the game the right way.
Yeah. That's crazy, right? Because in this town, I mean, Sox fans hate all Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
And all Cub fans, of course.
Yeah.
But they really hate Cubs players. I mean, at least when I was growing up and through most of the years of my life, there was nobody on the Cubs that Sox fans respected or liked. And this guy was the exception, and that's because of the way he went about his business. If you're looking for a way to describe him, he was simply the most respectful person you could ever be around. He cared very much about his approach to the game, how he treated fans, how he treated opponents, how he treated his teammates, how he treated his coaches and manager, how he treated his trainers, how he treated everyone around him. There was a way to do things right, and he did things right. And I think I think that approach to the game, look, I know it's a different world we live in now, but he very much believed in dropping the bat when you hit a home run, put your head down and run around the bases like you've done it before, and like it's not a surprise to you, and not showing up the opponent. And I think that's probably the aspect of him that maybe Sox fans respected. Maybe they didn't, even if they didn't like him, I think they respected him because he was a decent guy. He was an honorable guy.
Mm-hmm.
He carried himself with dignity, and it was never about him. He never tried to make it about him. He just wanted to play the game well as he could do it, and go home, and that was it. And it's pretty easy to respect a guy like that.
Yeah, it is. And how did your relationship with him kind of get so strong? How did you guys become good buds like this?
Well, I was a Cubs beat guy for a long time, so obviously we knew each other well. I think a lot of media thought he was boring and didn't have much to say, and I think some of them actually thought he wasn't very smart either. And I wouldn't necessarily say that was by design, but he was totally okay with that. Because if guys weren't hanging around his lockers, and this was in a day when you had access for many, many hours a day. It's not like it is today when everything is in front of a podium and, there's no individual time with players and coaches and managers. You had access all day. I mean, you were in there all day. Nobody was hanging around his locker because they thought he had nothing to say, and that was fine with him. He was pretty busy trying to be great at baseball, and he really wasn't all that comfortable in front of cameras and with writers. But I invested a lot of time with him to try to get to know him, to try to develop that relationship. I mean, look, it's like any other relationship in your life. You guys work together every day. If you don't go have beers once in a while, or you don't know anything about each other's families, or you don't care about each other at all, there's not going to be much of a chemistry there. It's not going to be much of a show. You're not going to be able to laugh at each other and have fun with each other and break balls all day if you don't know each other. And I think any relationship is like that. We got to know each other. He gave me some pretty good stuff over those years. And then when he retired in '94, the first time, we wrote a book together, and that's kind of when it changed and we became good friends. And yeah, he came back for a couple of years and then retired again. And of course, then we wrote the speech together. And it didn't occur to me until probably this week that it was maybe that night that truly changed kind of how we looked at each other. It was almost like we had become, I didn't use this word, somebody else said, it was almost like we had become teammates at that point. When we sat outside in Cooperstown on that Sunday night and just relived that day, it was kind of like we had somehow joined together at that point. And, for the last 20 years, I mean, really, it's been about a 40-year relationship, but the last 20 years, sorry, guys. It's been a lot of fun, and we've had some great experiences together, and we did a lot of fun things together and had some great times, some great laughs. And, like everybody else in Chicago and, anybody who ever saw him play, we're going to miss him.
I mean, you can see how you're getting choked up right now. So obviously he means a lot to you on a human level. And that's kind of what we want to get at right now is the human side of him. So I'm reading the transcription of his Hall of Fame speech that you wrote right now, and it hits home a lot. There's a bunch, like, you got respect highlighted, and that seems to be the theme of how he played the game of baseball and how he approached life as a whole. And you guys really exuded that in the speech, and I watched it again last night. It really hits home for a baseball fan. Like, so at the beginning of the episode, you were talking about how White Sox fans, which I am one, we hate the Cubs, but there's players throughout each era that you tip your hat at and say that guy does it right. Ryne Sandberg, for me personally, Anthony Rizzo was that. I was just like, that's the guy I want to build my team around. So I love that you guys were able to bring that out and through that speech, because Cooperstown's it's a magical place, it really is a magical place, and you guys made magic happen in that moment.
Yeah, I think if you were to go back to that time, which obviously again was really before your guys' time, your wheelhouse. If it was your wheelhouse or it was your parents' wheelhouse, this is the guy you wanted your kids to be like. You know,
Yes.
everybody
Yeah.
jokes about role models, and of course it was a big thing with Barkley back in the day. I'm not a role model, but of course he was. I mean, if you're a famous person, you're a role model, whether you like it or not. Ryno took that job seriously. He believed it was important. He embraced that, and he did everything right. And it wasn't for that reason. He did it that way because that's who he was. I think to try to understand him, you have to sort of go back to the beginning. And he certainly didn't grow up wealthy, lower middle class, not a particularly gregarious family that he grew up in, and nothing was ever easy for him. He was a 3-sport star in high school. He was an All-American quarterback, signed with Washington State, thought he was going to play football. It was assumed that he would also try to play basketball and baseball at Washington State. He was a tremendous athlete. But after being drafted by the Phillies in the 20th round and being drafted late because everyone thought he was playing football, he sort of started thinking about the idea of going to college, and school wasn't exactly his thing. Of course, I don't know. Look back in college. Was it anybody's thing? I know it probably wasn't my thing either.
It was forced on me because I was not an All-American in 3 sports.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. We all went to school because we had no talent of any kind.
Yeah.
And many would argue we still don't.
Mm-hmm.
But we
People
so
argue
we
that
went
every
to
day.
college. Yeah, exactly. He didn't want to, so he talked to his brother, who was a minor league baseball player at the time, and he said, "Look, I think I want to play baseball." And his brother said, "Well, if you're going to go right now." And so about a week after the draft, he signed with the Phillies. He was not really taken seriously as a prospect in the Phillies system, even though he was tremendous at every level of the minors. He was blocked at every level. He was a tremendous shortstop, but he was blocked at every level of the Philly system. So he finally climbs all the levels, gets to the majors in September of '81, and has a cup of coffee, and then the Phillies trade him to the Cubs. He gets to the Cubs, who are a terrible team, of course, as they always were, and he's got 5 gloves in his locker because they don't know if he's playing left field, center field, third base, shortstop, or second base. That's how good of an athlete he was. They put him at third with a week left in spring training. He's never played there in his life. He was phenomenal. Should have been a Gold Glover that year. They gave it to Mike Schmidt because he hit 40-some home runs. He moves to second base with a month left in the season, and the rest is kind of history. Becomes, at least in the eyes of many, the best fielder in the history of the position. He has this phenomenal career, which was interrupted for a couple of years by retirement, but he has this great career, but it was never easy. Nothing about it was easy for him. Once he became Ryne Sandberg in June of '84, the famous Sandberg game, the responsibility to be Ryne Sandberg every day was a tremendous burden for him, but he accepted it and worked harder. And so while other guys were doing TV or radio or talking to writers, he was out on the field every morning taking 60 grounders to his left, 60 to his right, and 60 right at him. He just kept working, never stopped working. And the game was hard for him. He had a tremendous fear of failure. I think he admitted many times he probably didn't have enough fun, but he was so busy trying to be great at baseball that there wasn't a lot of room for all the other things that guys did in baseball. So it wasn't easy for him. It was a lot of hard work. And I think if you're wondering sort of why he was the personality that he was, it was that reason. It was that he was terrified of failure. I think a lot of great athletes, I think Frank Thomas said the same thing. He was terrified of failure, and he didn't have a lot of fun playing baseball and sort of regretted that. But look, you are what you are, right? And if that's how you get to be in the Hall of Fame, then you accept that and say, this is who I am, and this is how I'll do things. But to understand him, really, you have to know that his focus was on baseball and going home after a game. He didn't want to do endorsements. He was criticized for that, which I always thought was pretty funny. Like, what do you care?
Yeah,
right?
why? What?
Yeah.
What do you care if he
doesn't
makes
wanna-
money off the field or not? But he didn't want to do endorsements. He was worshipped in this town
Mhm.
at a time when you had Michael Jordan just arriving. You had Walter Payton, the greatest football player who ever lived, near the end of his career, and incredible and worshipped. You had Dennis Savard, the most exciting hockey player who's ever come through this town, with respect to Bobby Hull and Stan Mikita. It was a tremendous time for these individual athletes, and Ryno could have been on all those posters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be. All he wanted to do was work hard, play baseball, try to be great, and go home to his family. And it's really quite admirable. He was as honorable a guy as you could ever be around, and I wish you guys had had the chance to know him.
So there, with all the star power that was in Chicago, like it's crazy. You just ripped off a bunch of big names. You didn't even name Ditka and like a few others. But with all the star power, he never like went out with Jordan one night around town and got a steak at whatever steakhouse was in the late 80s or nothing like that. Just straight home.
Generally straight home. I mean, he had some buddies on the team. He and Sutcliffe were very close, Jody Davis, Keith Moreland, but he wasn't comfortable in public. Not that if he were sitting here with you guys right now, he would be uncomfortable, because, one-on-one or with a small group, he was fine. But to be admired and to be worshipped and to have people clap when he walked in a room made him extremely uncomfortable. I know some people live for that. Frankly, those are not the people that I enjoy being around, because you know exactly what they are. Yeah. But this was a guy who was not comfortable. He didn't think about himself. He didn't sit around and think, oh, wow, I'm so great. I'm Ryne Sandberg. I want more attention. No, he just wanted to do his job and go home. And I think that's really admirable. He made a great point, though, once, and I don't know if this was when we were writing the book or it was just some night we were having beers. But he said, I always made myself accessible. Like Jordan couldn't walk down Michigan Avenue at any point in his career in Chicago. From the day he got here, he could not. Walter really couldn't either, because he was, I mean, like it or not, and I'm not sure that he liked it either, but he was so big. He was so big in this town. Sandberg could walk down Michigan Avenue and people would say hello. But it wasn't a mob scene. There was never a mob, because he made sure he was always accessible. So if he walked in, so this sounds like a contradiction. While he would rather go home to his family, he did not hide from the public. So it was not a huge deal. It wasn't like, holy Christ, Jordan's in a restaurant. Let's everybody get there right now.
Right.
There was also no social media, so no one was posting. Yeah. Hey, Ryno's in this restaurant, on Michigan Avenue, kind of thing. But he could do things that other superstars couldn't do, because he never made himself inaccessible to the world. And again, he laughed about it once, because he said, I don't even know exactly how I did that, but that worked out. That worked out pretty well for me.
You talked about how the other media members might have been like, this guy's got nothing to say, and you invested the time. Do you remember like a moment or a year where like you're like, this guy, there's a spark here, there's something to this guy, that where it's like you guys connected or you shared a laugh, or is there something where it's like, all right, he's not what people think? Is there a moment that you remember about him?
Wow, that's an excellent question. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done. Well done. That's a win for you. Yeah. The boys would probably say that's the only one today, right?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know that I'd have to think back to and go through stories if I could find them and find a particular one. I think he was surprised that I would ask him about things in his life without my pen and my pad out. It was kind of an unwritten rule. If you didn't put, it's just before tape recorders. Baseball writers didn't use tape recorders. Radio guys did, TV guys did, and there weren't that many around in the 80s and 90s. But if you didn't pull out your pad and your pen, it was understood you were just having a conversation like humans instead of enemies. And I think just the fact that I would ask him questions about his life and about how, we talked about, and this was before I had kids. He was a couple years older than me. But I think he was just surprised that I would ask him about his life, about his family, about what it's like to try to move your family from Arizona to Chicago in the middle of summer, and those kinds of things. And we just sort of got to know each other. And it was through that trust that he would give me things that he just didn't give other people, stories that he wouldn't give other people. And I can't think of a specific one, but I think others were surprised that he had more to say than they ever knew. And my response to that would be, did you ever really try? Because most writers, it's just a drive-by shooting. It's like run to a guy after a game, get a quote, move to the next guy. And, I would spend 15 minutes or a half hour with him in the clubhouse before a game, just talking and getting to know each other. And like I said before, it's a relationship. If you don't invest time in it, it's not going to be much of a relationship. But wish I had a better answer for you. Off the top of my head, I can't think of one.
That is a pretty good answer, Barry.
Specific thing. But he was a bright guy who had thoughts and wanted to share them if he believed that whoever he was sharing them with was not going to turn it into a headline that was going to screw him and make him look bad, because he was very guarded about his image. If he trusted you with that information and trusted you were going to handle it properly and not turn a phrase around, because all it takes is a couple of words, turning a phrase around or make it into a headline that it really isn't, you can screw a guy pretty fast.
Yeah.
And, once that trust was there, I got some good stuff.
Barry, was there a moment in his career? Obviously, he had a great career with the Cubs. Was it the 1984 team? Was it the Ryne Sandberg game where he realized how special it was to be a Cub?
I think he, it's a good question. I obviously, the Sandberg game changed everything in his life, and it made him an international star and completely changed him on the field and off. But I think it was as a rookie, even though they didn't draw up, big numbers in 82. I think it was as a rookie when he went 0 for 19 and 1 for 31 that those people didn't turn on him. I think he realized, look, he's coming from Philadelphia, where all you hear for 5 years in the minor leagues is, boy, you better go 4 for 4 on your first day, or this is the town that famously booed Santa Claus, right? So, I think he realized this was a special place, a special ballpark, a special fan base, and they embraced him pretty. Look, you could see this guy was going to be a really good baseball player. I don't know, maybe Dallas Green did. I don't know if anybody else knew that he was going to be a Hall of Fame baseball player. But if God was building a baseball player, he would build Ryne Sandberg. Tall, extremely athletic, very fast, great first to third, first to home, tremendous fielder, great hands, could hit for average, could steal, could hit for power. I mean, he had everything, and you could see it. I mean, it's like if you guys are probably degenerates. Sometimes you look at a horse and you go, "Oh Lord,
look at that horse's ass."
That's a horse. Okay. That was Ryno. You looked at him and you went, okay, when this guy grows up and becomes an adult, holy crap. I mean, that's at least you hope. At least you hope. At least you think maybe. So I mean, you could see it, and I think he probably knew that first year, that first month, when they didn't give up on him, that this was going to be a special place to play. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
No, it does. And
it does, yeah.
And, it really sucks, too, that he's not going to see the All-Star game in 27 at Wrigley, because, I was born in 90, and that's kind of one of my visuals is him in the home run derby. I know everyone likes to crap on that home run derby. It wasn't the greatest, but seeing him win it and, hit the most was definitely a highlight. So,
you know what? I don't know why they crap on it. I think the wind was blowing in like 30. And Mark McGwire and Jose Canseco had no idea how you hit a home run into a 30-mile-an-hour wind blowing straight at you.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I knew exactly how to do it
Yeah.
because I played here all the time.
Yep.
Huge
Mhm.
advantage. Get on top of the baseball, keep it low, and try to hit a line drive. You put it up in the air. I don't care how many steroids you're on. It's not going anywhere
Yeah.
in a wind like that. But I remember sitting there watching it and thinking this is pretty funny that this is happening. I don't know who else was in it. Those are the only guys I remember was Sandberg, Canseco, and McGwire. I don't know who else was in it in 1990. But why do they crap on it? Just because
I think
these guys weren't hitting them 500 feet?
I think there was a total of 5 home runs by 8 participants combined. That's why
That'll do it.
on
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now. So Ryno had 3, Matt Williams had 1, and McGwire had 1. Griffey, Canseco, Cecil Fielder, Bobby Bonilla, and Darryl Strawberry all went over.
Those are some big names too.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
the quickest home run derby of all
So
time.
needless to
Yeah.
say, the highlights I
Yeah.
see of him are probably the only highlights.
Right, yeah.
That whole derby.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, I come from a generation which is scoffed at today where, baseball wasn't just 500-foot home runs. So I think that's pretty damn funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
really
so
do.
too. Well, Barry, really, we appreciate your time. Is there any way we can end the show here? Like, I'm sure everyone asks you all the time, like, what's your favorite Ryne Sandberg story? And you have one kind of ready to go. I don't know if you have one ready today because obviously it's been a tough week.
I mean, I have 1,000, but I'll just tell you. I'll tell you briefly. Do we have 2 minutes?
you have 2 minutes.
Yeah, of
Absolutely.
course.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So Cooperstown was phenomenal. The day was great. He did a great job with the speech, and I was very nervous because I wasn't sure if I had ruined this guy's life. I was in the back pacing. At one point, he saw me. He said he saw me back there pacing. He was like, it was a distraction. What are you doing back there? I said, well, I was nervous. He goes, you were nervous? I'm fighting for my life up here. I said, well, I wasn't sure if we had done the right thing. He goes, well, now's a good time to tell me that. I said, no, I was just the moment. I was nervous, but the day ends. It's all great. And he invited me to the team hotel. So I'm in the bar with 60 Hall of Famers on Sunday night. And this is wild. And I said, look, I want to meet Koufax, I want to meet Seaver, and I want to meet Hank Aaron. And now Ryno thinks it's funny. So he's taking pictures of me with all these different guys, including Ozzie Smith, who I hated and, that had no interest in. But Ryno thinks this is funny. So he's just taking pictures of me with random Hall of Famers. I did get my picture with Aaron and got to meet Koufax, sat down, talked to him for a while. That was phenomenal. But when it came time to meet Seaver, he had gained a significant amount of weight at that point. And he was also considerably overserved. I mean, it was late. It was probably 11 o'clock, and who knows how long these guys have been drinking. And Seaver puts his arm around me, and Ryno's about to take the picture. These are old-fashioned cameras, okay? No cell phones, right?
Yeah.
So it's 20 years ago. So Ryno's about to take the picture, and Seaver goes, wait. He goes up. He's going to say something to Ryno, and he hits Ryno, and the camera goes up in the air in slow motion and floats down to the ground and breaks. And Ryno picks it up and tries to take the picture. And this picture is now posted on Twitter, by the way. I posted it this morning. He tries to take the picture. It doesn't. He's like, I think it's fuzzy. I think your camera might be broken. I was like, yeah, no kidding.
There it is.
And I said, so
now.
we get out on the patio, and I say to Ryno, how many Gold Gloves in a row did you win? I mean, you got the best hands in the history of the position. These perfect hands. I go, how do you drop a camera? He goes, E1.
I'm looking at it now. It's real. It's
That's
a
you and
funny
Tom
picture.
Seaver.
Yeah, could be
Looks
you.
like
It could be you and anyone.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It could be me and John Madden, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
It looks like it could be John Madden.
But we sat out back that night and relived that day, and that's got to be my favorite memory, is just sitting out there for hours. We were on this crazy high that we couldn't come down from.
Yeah.
Just reliving it, because the magnitude of what had happened was sort of starting to hit us. He had Hall of Famers behind him on stage going, "That's goddamn right. That's right. That's right." It was like a revival meeting. They were listening to everything he was saying, and they were, he was appealing to the baseball world for a better game, not just home runs and strike. I mean, this is 2005, the heart of the steroid era. He was appealing to the world. And there was Bud Selig, the commissioner of steroids, sitting 4 feet behind him, just squirming in his seat. It's fantastic. But we sat out back that night and had a great night. Many cigars, many beers, and I'll always be grateful for that. That's the best night I ever had in baseball. Without wanting to be hyperbolic, it may be the best night I ever had in sports. I'd have to think about that, but certainly a great night and my favorite memory.
That's awesome, Barry. Well, honestly, thank you so much for sharing all this today. We appreciate it. I know you said you're retired, but is there anywhere people could find your stuff? Do you tweet anymore? Is there anywhere people could find you?
I don't do a goddamn thing. Okay,
That's the best. I love that.
Congratulations.
No, you know what? After 40 years of radio and TV and newspapers, I don't want. I just
leave me alone.
I want to do anything. But no, I tweeted a lot this week, a lot of pictures, a lot of thoughts about Ryno. I obviously did a lot of media, but and got a lot of offers to write, and I didn't want to. I just thought I would need an awful lot of space to try to sum up the life of somebody that I truly loved and respected, and so I didn't. I appreciate all those offers, but I didn't. But if people wanted to find some thoughts that I've had, I am on Twitter. It's just my name. And I'm on Facebook. I haven't done the Instagram thing because, frankly, I just don't care.
Yeah.
I just don't.
I love it.
My kids make fun of me. They're like, "You got to get on all these other things." I'm like, you know what? No, I really don't.
I'm all right.
I don't have to do. I don't have to do anything I don't want to do.
Well, they can find this picture of you and Dick Cheney from 2005.
Yeah, right.
on Twitter. But Barry,
is he holding a weapon?
yeah.
Big old bomb.
Well, thank you for your time, for giving it to us, and enjoy that beautiful fame that looks like you got behind you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to be able to pay tribute to Ryno, and so I'm grateful for the time. I'm glad you guys wanted to, and you know how to find me if you need anything. Chances are I won't know a goddamn thing about it, but if you wanted to, you could always ask.
Thanks, Barry. We appreciate it.
Barry.
We appreciate you, Barry.
All right, take care, fellas.
Hey guys, let's take a break to talk about Vuori. Vuori is incredibly versatile and comfortable. It's perfect for whatever your day brings, designed to look great beyond the gym. Whether you're running errands, heading to the office, or meeting up with friends, the core short is the short that started it all. For Vuori, it's soft, it's lightweight, it's 4-way performance stretching, and it moves with you. There's no restriction. The breathable boxer brief liner allows built-in comfort and support. Dave, you're a very active man. Mm-hmm. You need that at any time.
And I've shopped and rifled through many different brands trying to find what's comforting when I'm, on a nice morning jog or hitting the treadmill or whatever, and Vuori dominates it. Those line shorts are just the best thing on earth.
Top notch. Vuori is an investment in your happiness. For our listeners, they are offering 20% off your first purchase. Get yourself some of the most comfortable and versatile clothing on the planet with Vuori at vuori.com/stretch. That's VUORI.com/stretch. Exclusions do apply. Visit the website for full terms and conditions. Not only will you receive 20% off your first purchase, but enjoy free shipping on any U.S. orders, over $75 and free returns. Go to vuori.com/stretch and discover the versatility of Vuori clothing. Exclusions apply. Visit the website for full terms and conditions. Also, David, want to talk about ChevyDriveChicago.com. Chevy Drive Chicago has everything you need to shop and buy smart at your local Chevy dealer. Great styles, the latest tech. You'll look good and feel good about what you're driving. Now's the time to get into the Chevy family of EVs. Equinox EV, Blazer EV, and Silverado EV. Take advantage of all incentives today. Don't wait. Go to ChevyDriveChicago.com to find your local dealer and drive one today. Dave, we were browsing on the site the other day. What caught your eye the most?
I want to be a truck guy really bad, Ed.
Yeah, the Silverado's
Silverado's probably the way to go.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's
But
just a beautiful piece of America.
You can't say probably because they're all good options.
That is true.
No,
That
it's
is
not
true.
like Silverado's all class. Don't get me wrong.
It's all class, but we live in Chicago. There's probably more Chicago-specific options I should be looking at, like the tracks.
Well, everyone that's a beauty Chevy, whatever mold you need, they got it. So
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
that's it. So head to ChevyDriveChicago.com to find your local dealer today. Go get your Chevy. Part of My Cheesesteak has a brand new combo on its menu, introducing the Big One. An original classic cheesesteak of your choice of brownie bites or donut dippers and a drink. All for a discounted price, perfect for your game day meal or late night eats. Part of My Cheesesteak offers a wide variety of cheesesteaks, loaded fries, and popular desserts, all delivered right to your door. Go to partofmycheesesteak.com to order with code PMC20 for 20% off. All right, now we are joined by former Cub Larry Bowa. Larry, thanks for joining the show. Obviously, today we're remembering Ryne Sandberg. Just how did tell us about the first time you've seen Ryno? What do you remember that at all? And kind of what did he mean to you?
Well, the first time I met him was in '81 when we expanded our roster in September. And he came up, he had a pretty good year in our minor league system. I remember taking ground balls at short. And, sometimes you get a sense when somebody's standing behind you. And I felt someone standing behind me, and it was Ryno. And he was really a shy guy at that time. And I said, you want to take some? He says, yeah, if it's okay with you. And I said, yeah, come on in here. And he took some ground balls, and I watched his actions. I went, wow, this guy's got a chance to be something special, especially catching ground balls. And anyway, to make a long story short, he stayed up the rest of the month of September. I think he got one hit. He got one at 5 or 6 at bats. But anyway, then I had a contract dispute with the Phillies, and I basically said, if you're not going to honor my contract, then I want to be traded. And Dallas left Philly, went to Chicago, took me for D. Jesus, and he called me and he says, what do you got on Sandberg? I said, I think he's going to be a good player. I said, I don't know anything about him as far as power, but I know he runs good, he can field. And he says, well, I think I'm going to try to get them to throw in Sandberg. I said, well, that'd be great. So they did. They threw in Sandberg. And as we speak today, I used to rib Ryno all the time. He's a Hall of Famer. And I was just a regular player. And I said, oh, don't forget, you were the throw-in on that trade. But,
you were just the sweetener, a little cherry on top.
You're welcome for me bringing you along.
So we get traded to Chicago, and I called him on the phone. I said, hey, you ready to get going? He goes, yeah. I said, he said to me, he says, are you going to go on the 15th? That's our deadline to get there. And I said, no. We're going February 1st. You and I are going to go down. We're going to work on double plays and get there early. He says, okay, I'll be there. And from that day on, his work ethic was off the charts. And basically the rest is history. Hall of Fame second baseman, hit with power, steal bases, catch everything hit to him. Not only was he a Hall of Fame player, he was a Hall of Fame person. And, my heart goes out to Margaret, the family, the grandkids, the children. He's going to be missed big time. I mean, he was like a little brother to me. And to see what he did on the baseball field is unbelievable. One of the greatest to ever put on a uniform in Chicago Cub history.
That's pretty remarkable. So if you don't give him that, stamp of approval, he might never be a Cub.
In fact, when he had his statue dedicated to him, he says, I want to thank Larry Bowa for being upset about not getting a contract in Philadelphia. So once you got to know Ryno, people think he was real shy. He might have been shy until you get to know him, but he had a great sense of humor, and that laugh was contagious. He would walk around the clubhouse, and maybe Bull or Gary Matthews or Bob Dernier would be talking, and he'd come in and sort of stir the pot, and we'd be going at each other. And you could see Ryno walking away and looking over his shoulder, laughing at us. But he had that dry sense of humor. If there was one thing bad about Ryno, there's not very many bad things about him. The one thing bad about him, every time we got in the cab, he got in the back seat. I don't think he picked up one cab fare the whole time I was there. And but he learned right away, hey, we'll let the guys that play in the big leagues pick up these tabs because I'm just coming along. And the other thing that stands out in my mind, I think he went 0 for 30 or 1 for 30 to start off his career in Chicago. And I watched his demeanor, and I knew this guy was going to be mentally a tough dude, because when you start off the season and you go 0 for 30 or 1 for 30, I forget what it was. He was hitting line drives at people. And I said, man, this guy has not lost it. He's kept his cool, and he rebounded from that. And the other thing that stands out, his first year, they had him playing center, second, and third. You could probably put him anywhere on the baseball field, and he would have excelled. There's no question about that.
Was there a sense, obviously, when you guys got there, things were pretty grim in Chicago. Was there a sense when you guys got there, like, hey, this place is pretty special. If we could make a run here, things could be pretty awesome. And then obviously you guys did in 84. Did you guys feel that in 82 initially?
Yeah, we did, because, Dallas brought over, and I'm not saying the guys from Philly turned it around, but he brought over a lot of guys from Philly that were used to winning and getting in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So we try to get that personality in that clubhouse. And I think Dallas Green had a lot to do with that. And if you go back and check from 1984 on, Wrigley Field's pretty much packed every time they play now. Mm-hmm. And I think Dallas Green had a lot to do with that. And the players he brought over to go along with Ryno, he brought over Keith Moreland, Gary Matthews, Bob Dernier. We had a lot of guys, and he brought over Ron Say from the Dodgers. So he brought over a lot of guys with winning attitudes, and it didn't work right away, but we could see things starting to go. And then, of course, the cherry on the top was getting Sutcliffe in a trade right in the middle of the year. He went on to win the Cy Young. Mm-hmm. So there were a lot of good things happening, and 84 was a special. For me, it was special. I played in Philly, won to a lot of playoffs, won a World Series in 80, but to see that city come together in 84, it was unbelievable. I mean, that place was packed. The energy through the city was unbelievable. I just wish we could have finished the deal. We won the first 2 games, and then we had to go out to San Diego, and we couldn't win a game out there. But looking back on it, I think that's the one thing that Ryno probably missed more than anything, because he talked about it a lot, was getting to a World Series, and it just didn't come about. But he has nothing. His career was off the charts. I mean, one of the greatest guys I've ever met, and a great baseball player.
Could you, in that 84 year, could you feel like a sea change in Chicago, where it's like the people were starving for it and you guys delivered? Was that like one of the more fun years you ever had?
It was. It really was. And the fact that, I had all that success in Philly, and to go there and watch the Cubs start to turn things around was unbelievable. But the city was electric. At that time, we didn't have lights. So every time we played a game, we'd go out to dinner. People would come up, hey, you guys are doing good. Do this, do that. We haven't had a winter here in so long. And you could feel the vibe. And as the season progressed, we start playing really, really good. And you could feel everything in a positive way happening in the city of Chicago. But Ryno had a great influence on that team in 84. When you have a game, usually the Cubs and Cardinals, that's all you have to say. Mm-hmm. How about that game between the Cubs and Cardinals? And people go, yeah, that was good. But it's not that anymore. It's the Sandberg game.
Right.
How about the Sandberg game, where he hit 2 home runs off a Hall of Fame reliever, Suter, and I don't know. That basically was his stamp. Like, okay, I'm ready to go to the next level, and boy, did he ever go to the next level.
That was gonna be my question next for you. Is can you take me through the Sandberg game? Like, I'm sure it was obviously 41 years ago, but I'm sure it seems like it was yesterday to you. I would assume.
I mean, it really does. And you still see highlights of that on the MLB mm-hmm. network and everything. The fact that he hit the first home run to tie it and then do it again off Suter, I think that's what made it remarkable, because this guy didn't give up home runs, right. First of all. He's one of the elite closers in baseball at the time. And for Ryno to do what he did at Wrigley Field in front of a national audience, a packed house, the city was going crazy. Everybody in the dugout was going crazy. And that was Ryno's stamp saying, hey, I'm ready to take the next level, and I am a superstar. But he was so humble. He would never, ever state that he was he was one of the guys.
Yeah.
The one thing he wanted to do every day He wanted to win. He could care less about stats. He could care less about his individual game. He wanted to win baseball games, and his work ethic was off the charts. And I sort of got him started with, hey, we got to do stuff before a game, no matter if the tarp's on or not. And I remember going to a couple stadiums where the tarp was on, it was raining, and Ryno says, hey, we got to go down and play pepper. We got to play catch. He felt if he didn't do all that stuff before the game, that he wasn't ready to play. And from the first day he put on that uniform to the last day he took it off, I've talked to people on that team towards the end of his career, and they said he stuck by that routine no matter what the weather was, no matter if he was going good, no matter if he was going bad. And I think that has a lot to do talking about his work ethic that made him such a great baseball player.
And you brought up no lights. The more we sit here and talk about Sandberg, he might have been the perfect Cub for that era, where I'm sure a lot of guys probably didn't like that fact that they had to wake up early every game and get to the field. But he was such a baseball head. He didn't care about, the endorsements and going out, all that. He was probably the perfect guy to be like, nope, I'm here. I'm taking grounders, and this is my job.
That's exactly right.
He had a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And you know what? When I first went over there, I liked it because, it is like a regular job. You get up in the morning, you have breakfast, you go to the park, you play the game, you come home, you have a barbecue, and you go to the next game the next day. The only drawback on that, and we talked about it a lot, is when you go on the road and say you go to San Francisco, LA, or Philly, they're all night games, and you come home and you got to play 10-game homestand, they're all day games. And as you guys know, in Chicago, it gets really hot there and humid. It had its toll on us, and it wore you out a little bit. But that was no reason that we couldn't finish that deal, because we won 2 games against San Diego, and a couple bad things happened out there that didn't allow us to continue, because I really believe it would have been a good World Series between the Cubs and the Tigers that particular year.
Wasn't there a little conspiracy about the Cubs not getting home field in that because there were no lights? Do you buy into that, or do you remember that at all?
Yeah, I do. There was a conspiracy, and Dallas tried his best to get the lights there. There's no question about that. And finally, he did get them there. And eventually, the Cubs went on and won that elusive World Series. And it looks like they're having a pretty good year this year, and I'm sure they're going to be in the playoffs. But hopefully, they can dedicate the rest of this season to the guy that sort of set the standard of how to play the game the right way, and that was Ryno. And I know a lot of these young guys, I've seen some quotes about them, about how he's going to be missed because he showed up at spring training always with a positive energy, no matter where he went. He could be 0 for 15 and come out and you think he was 15 for 15. I think when he started his baseball career, if someone said you're going to be in the Hall of Fame, he would have laughed at him. But through the hard work and dedication that he put in, he got that reward. And I was very lucky not only go to his statue unveiling, but I got to go to the Hall of Fame speech when he was inducted in Cooperstown. And I thought he did a tremendous job there also.
Yeah, a lot of people have been talking about his work ethic and, that he was quiet and shy. Did he develop? Did you witness him develop as a leader? Was he ever a vocal guy, like in the clubhouse or on the bench or anything like that? Was that part of his aura as well?
Yeah, he was like a quiet leader, but you know what? Don't get him upset. He can get angry.
He'll crack a whip.
He can get, but it'd take a while to get him angry. Somebody threw up and in on him, he'd get mad. He'd come in and say, "Hey, I don't appreciate that. Are we going to do something to the other guys?" But for the most part, he was a professional, man. You never saw him bat flip. In fact, to this day, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago, I had a conversation with him, and we were talking about all the things that happened during a game. And he says, I have trouble watching it. Guy hits a home run, they're down 10-0, and you think he just won the World Series. He was all about respect. He was all about treat the opposition like they're good no matter what their record is. And he lived by that. He lived every game by that. He respected his teammates. He respected the opposition. And like I said, we lost a tremendous, tremendous individual. And again, my prayers go out to Margaret. She was a rock in that family. And I was devastated when I heard the news. I know Ryno had been sick. It got worse lately. I thought in February when I saw him, he looked great. I said, man, hopefully this is the arrows pointing up. And everybody thought it was. And then this terrible disease came back. And took him way, way, way too early.
Yeah, it absolutely did. Larry, you brought up the Cubs present day. Are you still following baseball as much? You still watch nowadays?
Oh yeah, I'm still working with the Phillies. I'm assistant to the GM.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
And
that.
so I get to watch. Yeah, I watch all the games. I go to all our home games. You know, and if the Cubs are on the West Coast, I'll check out West Coast games. But
Were you in Chicago this week with the Phillies being in town?
no, I wasn't.
So
No, I wasn't.
I know Dombrowski, I guess
Yeah,
your
Dave
boss.
was- yeah,
Dave was there.
Right.
You may have a new center fielder, honestly, by the time our conversation ends, because I know the Sox and Luis Robert, or Phillies are very interested in Luis Robert, and I think he'd be a good fit for them.
Yeah, he had a good series against us.
He looked, and even the outs were loud, so he looks like he's a little back right now. So
I think there's other teams that I know. I heard San Diego was looking at him. I heard the Mets
yep.
were looking at him. Phillies. So
I'm hoping there's a little bidding. I'm a White Sox fan. I'm hoping there's a little bidding war coming up between the Phillies and Mets, and then
yeah,
Put in a good word, Larry.
Yeah, so
put in a good word.
I will.
How's our guy Kyle doing? Schwarber.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's an icon here.
Yeah.
This guy. I tell you what,
He was an icon here too. We don't understand why he's gone.
Well, he's a free agent.
Okay.
And again, I hope I'd be disappointed if we don't sign him, but I wish we could have maybe sealed the deal earlier, because every ball that goes in the stands now, that cash register is dinging right now, because I think there's only one other player as we speak that has more home runs the last 3 years, and that's Judge. Other than that, it's Schwarber.
I've looked. I looked probably about a month or 6 weeks ago, but he's on pace for 500 home runs.
Oh, I know.
He's got almost. It was like 330, I want to say, when I looked. So he's maybe
The other
going to
thing
have
is
500 bombs.
he's an unbelievable leader in our clubhouse.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the guy that keeps everything together.
What it took the Cubs was 1 year and $5 million or so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they'd like him in that lineup right now.
Hey,
Yeah.
have him matching next
That would
year.
be nice.
Yeah.
We're going to try to keep him, though.
All right. Yeah. Well, don't make the same mistake that we did.
Yeah, really.
Just
Yeah.
let him walk. It wasn't even they got rid of him. They're just like, nah.
So you like the Cubs, though? You think we're in a good spot?
Yeah, I do. I like the Cubs. I like Milwaukee. I think that division, everyone thought that division would be okay. And Cincinnati has made a couple moves.
Yeah.
I think that division went from people thinking, oh, it's okay, to it's a really good division right now.
Yeah.
And, of course, the East is Phillies and Mets. And out West, the Dodgers don't seem to be running away like everyone thought they were, with all the injuries to the pitching staff. San Diego's playing good. So there's going to be a lot of teams fighting for those playoff spots going down the stretch here.
Yeah. You mentioned how you and Ryno were talking about how the culture is different with the bat flips. What do you think about the rule changes, like the pitch clock, and not a fan?
We talked about that also.
Okay.
Talked about what we liked about it and what we did. We both agreed that we love the pitch clock.
Okay.
I agree. Yeah.
And we don't mind two guys on each side of the bag at second. You know, if they want to ban the shift, that's fine.
Okay.
And we both came up with the same thing. There's three things we hated. You can't break up a double play.
Yes.
You should be able to.
And that's a second baseman, middle infielder saying that, who
Yes.
probably could have
When-
gotten his knees destroyed many times throughout his career.
I mean, we got knocked into left field.
Right.
I got knocked into left. He got knocked into right. But that's how you play the game, as long as it was clean.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We do not like the idea you can't bowl over a catcher. Hey, if a catcher wants to block home plate, let him block it. If he doesn't want to, he doesn't have to. And the big rule that we both hated, the ghost runner. You know what?
Yeah.
If you're going to use the ghost runner, why do they ban it during the playoffs?
Exactly.
Exactly. Why do you do it? If you're going to use it all year.
Yeah.
So those are the things that, and we agreed on mostly everything. I think we agreed on a reliever coming in. You have to face three hitters. That's
I like
okay.
that too, yeah.
But, I think the fact is our minds were operating in the same vein there all the time because we would talk about all these rule changes and everything. And he was old school baseball, believe me. He was old school. People said they never saw him dive for balls that much. Well, you know what? He didn't have to. His first step was off the charts. He had tremendous hands, tremendous arm strength. There really isn't anything on the baseball field that Ryno couldn't do. And I'll tell you the other thing: you put any kind of ball in his hand. You put a basketball, football, tennis racket, golf. This guy did it all. He was a natural athlete, and he made things look effortlessly when he participated in any of those events. I played golf with him once, and no chance. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Just once. That was enough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to get embarrassed anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, his swing was just like his baseball swing.
Pure.
It was off the chart. But everything he did, it looked like there was no effort into it. It was just natural.
Yeah. No, it's been great kind of hearing how special he was. Obviously, we knew, but we're a little on the younger side, so I don't remember him as much.
Yeah.
But obviously, a tremendous Cub and did a lot for the franchise.
His name and his legacy will never be forgotten in Cub history.
Chicago. Yeah.
He played the game the way you're supposed to play the game, and he took a lot of pride in that. And like I said, hopefully the Cubs, they don't need any motivation to get to the playoffs, but the fact that Ryno's number's on the sleeve now, I think that can maybe jumpstart them and get them really, really hot the second half, because it would be something special if they could go real far into the playoffs. And obviously, Ryno has a lot to do with the culture in that clubhouse. And moving forward, I'm sure his legacy will live on forever and ever.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll see you here in October, Larry.
That would be good.
Yeah.
That would be a good playoff, the Cubs and Phils.
That would be an awesome.
That'd be
play.
really
Yeah.
good.
National League's going to be
Two
absolute
great markets. As
Gaunt-
long as
Yes.
I just don't. I'm done with the Dodgers. Like, get the Dodgers
I
out
am
of
too. I'm done with them because everyone talks to the Dodgers. To me, are like the Dallas Cowboys. Everyone says, "Oh, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, and all that," and then things don't work out the right way. They spend a lot of money,
Yeah.
but they have all these injuries and IL, and I mean, they have a good team, but it's not a given that they're automatically going to win the World Series. Believe me, there's too many good teams playing right now.
And
They might not make it out of
the West. Yeah.
I mean, that's a gauntlet of a league.
I like the idea of Chicago and Philly. Like, those are great sports markets.
Oh, man,
like
they are.
that would be an electric series back and forth.
That's great history there.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
It's like the Larry Bowa Cup.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Larry, thanks so much for joining us. It's been a delight talking to you, sir.
Yeah.
All right, guys, and like I said before, the last 3 days have been really, really tough. When you lose somebody, like I said, he was like a brother to me, and it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while, but I will say this: they have a great team up top with the Lord, with Ryne Sandberg playing second base.
Amen to
Well
that.
said.
Yeah.
Well said.
Well, we appreciate your time. We're sorry for your loss.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Larry.
Thanks, Larry.
Okay,
Talk soon.
You're welcome.